Perhaps it's Sonny who mastered the art of making idiots look smart.
Greg Gutfield speaks out sharply in the direction of The View's dumb program. Let's take a look at it.
Now, The View could ask a mirror who's the dumbest one of all, but there's no way that glass doesn't shatter. So instead, let's check out this clip from Monday's episode of The View when the ladies put their science caps on and discuss the solar eclipse.
I know, right? I mean, I have to say, Karen Dupiche, our wonderful, one of our wonderful makeup artists, when the earthquake was happening, she put her coat on and she was like, Jesus is coming.
I'm out.
I'm out. I'm leaving. We've got a solar eclipse. We've got the earthquake. She ran down the hallway.
The rapture is here.
The rapture's here. And then also I learned that the cicadas are coming.
Cicadas.
Cicadas.
Although I love
for the first time in like 100 years. For the first time in many, many years.
No, every 17 years this happens.
Well, that's not what I read, but maybe, you know, maybe you know better. All those things together would maybe lead one to believe that, you know, either climate change exists or something is really going on.
returning.
Earthquakes are not at the mercy of climate change. It's underground. It can't. I don't think
it happens, and the eclipse. They've known about the eclipse coming because eclipses happen, and they actually can say when these things are going to happen.
Amazing. Wow.
Sometimes I'm ashamed of what these brainless chickens are carrying. It's just absurd and clownish.
That's not what I read. The true sign of the apocalypse is someone that dumb has a law degree. Worse, if your name has the word son in it, there's no excuse for not knowing how an eclipse works. But it's no surprise that Joy is the one who understands science. She's been on the science diet for years. They're turning on me. So that makes Sonny Hostin, who thinks climate change caused the solar eclipse, the dumbest of them all. Because everyone knows the moon caused the eclipse, which is controlled by the View's gravitational pull.
Ha ha ha. Greg Gutfield manages to read my mind. That's an accurate description of their barfing gang of old couch critics. I never doubted that's exactly what people think of them.
All right, Kat, did you ever see such a group? It's amazing how Joy and Whoopi became the smart ones.
For me, the most shocking thing about the conversation was how truly boring it was. They're like, well, the cicadas, they're cicadas. Okay, but it was like every 100 years. No, it's every 17 years. Do you know how many Emmys this show has? 31. 31 Emmys? This show has 31. I mean, I'd hate to see the conversations that don't make headlines. What?
And we don't have a single
Not a
Emmy.
single
we don't
one.
Have a what does that tell you about the Emmys, Kat? Yes, thank you, Mr. Boo. Give that man a free cup of water. Charlie, are these women bad for women?
They're bad for more than just women. The whole discussion about climate change drives me nuts because it does not exist, but the only reason I've come to love it is because of the characters that have gotten themselves involved. I mean, just a couple of weeks ago when I was on the show, we were talking about the snowboarder who testified before Congress. Remember, he was like the guy who was like, oh, bro, like, I think that there's climate change. And he had no idea what he was talking about. That was great. And then Greta Thunberg, who I have grown to be very fond of because she continually makes a mockery of herself. She was arrested not once but twice this past weekend. And now Sonny Hostin throwing her hat in the ring, claiming that these naturally recurring events such as earthquakes, which, by the way, I did my research. The first one was in 1831 BC, saying that they stem from climate change or something. Yeah. And I know she was just dying when she said something. She wanted to say racism.
Oh, yeah. For the most part, this show and I loved it for its absurdity and their views on life and politics. To them, the world is all pink skies and fluffy clouds. Biden is the president of the world and the healthiest man in the world. They consider themselves experts in every field and meddle in everything, but they know nothing. This only brings laughter and smiles and sometimes even rage.
Dying to say that.
Yeah, it was either going to be racism or Trump, but then she realized, what if Trump wasn't born then?
Yeah.
Also, what a way to cover your bases.
Yeah, exactly.
Or something.
Yeah, Jamie, you do that a lot with punchlines.
Yeah.
What's your problem? What a sensitive audience tonight.
And it's true. Yeah.
Jamie,
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on The View?
I want to know too, Jay. What are your
Why are you being so quiet about this?
Get it out, young man.
I'm glad you guys asked. I hate that show so much, and Kat is so right. Like, what is the show prep? They just go, go! Is that the pre-show? Like, what was that? I didn't realize until Kat started talking that all happened on the air.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like a behind-the-scenes disaster.
A blooper.
Yeah, that was crazy. And we can disagree, Greg. You say cicada, I say cicada. We can disagree. But I feel like if the world ends, first of all, I'll have saved the exact correct amount of money. With all due respect, I hate the solar eclipse. I went from New York City to Rochester, New York this weekend to do a gig. My flight got canceled. I forgot about the eclipse. And I looked it up. There's no other flights.
Yeah.
The train is sold out for people going to see this eclipse. And people want to see the eclipse so bad. All the flights to Buffalo were sold out. Flights to Syracuse. That's how bad people want to see the eclipse. They went to Syracuse.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was. And I was so annoyed by the whole thing, and the world's not ending, and it's not even that big a deal. And like, I was in the green room, I was on the show last week, and I was talking to Tyrus backstage, and he like stood up in front of this lamp, and I was like, that's kind of it.
I agree with him, and I think preparing for the show and understanding the subject matter is not about The View, so definitely not.
We don't. Cleveland finally had a good view of something.
Yeah. What about poor Buffalo? Like people in Buffalo, where it's like it was a cloudy day.
Yeah.
Buffalo's like slogan should be "so close."
What's the chart? Have you ever been on The View?
I have many. I think when was Barbara
Walters.
Was she still on it back then?
Yeah, she was on it even after she died.
I remember I was on The View, and I don't know what man whore I was playing at the time in a movie he was promoting. And I remember I took off her shoe just as a joke, to kind of do something. And her foot, I just like, ooh, that was a mistake.
Oh my God.
Hey, it was kind of every toe had its own, Anyway, God rest her soul.
Yes.
Well, I don't know who's dumber, to be honest.
Yeah,
with you. I don't know.
It's a tough question.
It's a close. You know what? I'm gonna Whoopi. She thought like either the Nazis thought the Jews were a race or were in a race. I'm not sure what she thought. And I thought, this new one was Sonny, pretty dumb. And then Joey Behar in her own echo chamber. I'm gonna say the dumbest people who still watch the show.
Yes.
The whole audience clapped, by the way.
studio audience.
Greg Gutfield on his show gave an accurate description of the lying and stupid show, The View. I've always said that the people who watch this clown show in all seriousness are not the ones with the highest IQs. Personally, in my opinion, the hosts of The View have not one decent argument or fact to back up their leftist opinions. They are just the ones who count on the opinions of rich uncles who care about the current government. After all, if Trump ascends to the presidency, their corrupt power will end. So, what do you think about all this? Write your opinion in the comments, and do not forget to watch other shocking news on the channel.